Hello and good morning. Welcome to Thursday, my friends. Now, I know I'm a couple of days early. I know Gemini technically isn't coming into the sky high and proud until Saturday. However, I didn't want to rush things, and the weekends don't always work well for me for readings, so I've got busy kids. So, I wanted to make sure that we've got everything up front and going for you so that as the weekend starts to go forward, you have that ability to know what to expect. Now, before I get going into Gemini, I want to wish everybody who has Gemini in their horoscope or their astrological birth chart a wonderful Gemini experience and a happy birthday. Because yes, Gemini can be in your birth chart if you weren't born at the end of May, beginning of June. And that's okay. Knowing that is helpful. So I suggest there's lots of free sites. I don't have an endorsement for one. I don't have one that I go to. Just hop on one. All you need is the day you were born, the time you were born, and where you were born. And it will tell you who and what is in that birth chart. Okay, let's get into Gemini for 2022. So I like to go up to my decks. I have a cupboard where I keep all my decks, and I just kind of grab what feels right. This morning, it was a gong show. I had two decks, I have them here, the Crystal Visions Tarot, and then the Shadowscape Tarot. And it was like this one, no. And because we're looking at the twins, I'm like, we need two decks. And then it still didn't feel right. So then I brought in a parent to kind of oversee both in the Radiant Rider Waite. And it feels better. And then to top her all off, I do have the Chakra Wisdom Oracle just to give it a nice rounded edge. I haven't read with this many cards in quite some time. I did my Patreon reading just before this, and it worked really, surprisingly, really well. And I think it's just because of what we're dealing with here. So Gemini, of course, consists of Castor and Pollux. There's a Greek myth about these twins. And so when I was looking at it, I wanted to make sure that we did have that very clear division of Castor and Pollux. Last year, we started to see a little bit of a tiff or a fight that would flare up. And we had an energetical kind of surge that would come through. It was literally like they were having some sort of weird firefight. So I wanted to make sure that we had that. Yes, Gemini, I know before you start typing in the thing, well, it's all about unity and communication and connection. Absolutely. These are twins. So if you've ever worked with twins or have twins, you know they can be the best of friends and the worst of enemies. So we have that ability to clearly get Castor's input and Pollux input. So let's get into this. Let's look at the whole thing as, well, a whole. What can my friends expect from Gemini? Okay. Now, I will probably run out of table space, but I will do my best. The Queen of Pentacles. That fertility, that stability, that growth. Of course, the more stable you are, the more you're going to be able to engage in stuff that's going to bring on that fertility, that creativity. You're going to feel that nurturing energy. The trick will be, of course, that stability and maintaining it. Because let's be honest, if it was in a perfect situation, this wouldn't be hard. Because we are in life, because we are dealing with other people, especially Mercury retrograde, that stability is a bear. We create it within ourselves, and then minutes later, poof, we're done. We're like all over the place. We feel unstable, uncertain, unsure. We feel like the world is coming forward. So, guys, funny Now, there's no way I would have known this was going to come up, per se. I have my next, and I usually do this in the middle of the week. I create my healing or meditation for the following week. Guess what it's on? Yeah, stability. And even better, it's a meditation. And I was going, how am I going to write this? What's this going to look like? The meditation is under 10 minutes long. It's in my short and sweet meditative playlist. It is something that you can use whenever you need it. So when you've created that stability and you feel strong, and then rush hour hits and you're like, I'm done, you can quickly, 10 minutes, not even, go through and you feel better. Super helpful. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Yes, I give you the guidance. We look at that mapping forward. But what's more is I also give you the tools. So I've got 3 meditative playlists, a mindfulness playlist, 4 healing playlists, and things keep expanding. I can't wait to see what else comes forward. But they're there. They're there for you. Now, they're all guided, because if you said to me, oh, go meditate in a room, it wouldn't happen. So they're all a guided situation. So all you have to do is breathe. That's it. And just listen to the description, the explanation, and the journey that we go through. Most importantly, this is a good one and a big one for me, is that they're free. There's no strings attached. It's just a tool and a support that I'm giving to you. So come Tuesday, you guys will have that. And that will help as Gemini is just getting into its reign and we're starting to get into that new flow. The Page of Pentacles. The fun, the exploration, and again, the groundedness. We're seeing a theme here. I like how they're kind of back to back. And yes, that's part of reading as well. How do the cards interact? They've got each other's back. That nurturing and that play. 2 sides to the same coin that you're going to need to support you through the rest of Mercury retrograde, as we transition into Mercury direct, and as we go into June. Because come June, we have yet another shift as we enter into summer. So that stability, it's going to be really important. And no, I know before people start writing, Gemini will not be part of the summer solstice. I know we're looking at Cancer. We're not looking at Gemini. But we need that stability to get us to that point, to that next turn. So nurturing is going to be important. Taking care of you. That's why those meditations and those healings are going to be helpful. Now, we get into that play, that exploration. There are things that are going right in our life. It may be hard to find, so we will need that super sleuth, that exploration, that kind of not afraid to look in the dark and geeky parts. That inner child. Let them out. Let them find that fun, that silver lining. Because we're going to need it. See how we're going to need it. I'm going to start off with Castor because, well, we'll go alphabetical. The only way I can do it. With twins, you can't even say the older one, right? So let's look at Castor. What does Castor want to share with my friends? Now, earlier when I was doing my Patreon reading, Castor hucked the cards around. So I'm asking Castor nicely not to huck the cards around. They get very excited when you're working with energies like this. And yeah, it can be a lot of fun. Did I just not say, hey, can we keep it on the deck? Okay. There's always one in the crowd. Let's get the one that hit the floor. Thankfully, it was only one. With my other reading, it was like half the deck. We're starting off with the Star. We're starting off with that balance and that creativity. Like I said, there are things going right in your life. Maybe really hard sometimes to find it, to embrace it, because there's so much else going on. There's so many other balls in play. This one's hard to think about. So Castor's being really clear. We need to balance ourselves out and start to look at that silver lining. Look at what's going right. When we do, it's when we're going to start to see the patterns. We're going to start to see those messages that are right in front of us. Now, that balance, she's got one foot on the land and one in the water. In the Rider-Waite deck, she was actually in a more awkward position. She was kneeling down, one knee on the land and one foot on the water. No matter how precarious the position or how much we're struggling, it's important that we have that stability so we can open ourselves up to that intuitional energy, because that's exactly what the water represents. And additionally, she is giving energy to the land and to the water. It's going to be really important that we have that balance. We have a tendency to focus in on that next big fire, that big problem. Well, a lot of times those problems are ego-driven, and these fires become situations or problems because your ego doesn't want you to do what you should be doing. Balancing out that energy, making sure that you can focus in on some of the stuff that's really important, that feeds you, that brings in that fun, that brings in that play, that helps you become grounded and stable and taking care of you. So it's going to be, oh, hey, Shauna. It's going to be really important that we do have that balance, not only within ourselves, but giving ourselves time and permission to do some of the things that we need to do for ourselves rather than everybody else. I should have flipped the cards. The 7 of Cups. I love the fact that she's on this dragon and the dragon's like, I'll take this cup and this cup and this cup. What do you want? So know that in the 7 of Cups, people get really anxious about that card. What happens if I choose the wrong one? You're not going to choose the wrong one. What the 7 of Cups talks about is options. Some are going to be really bright and have these rainbows, and you're like, that's what I need to do. Other times, they're going to be hidden, and they may not be as lustrous, but you have to make a choice. Know that they all hold aspects that you need, information and learning that you're going to want. Instead of coming to a situation going, what if I choose wrong? And I'm working with my kids, because my kids do this all the time. That what if, that is going to be your Achilles heel. That's going to slow you down. Instead of what if, switch it to what can I learn? What can I experience? What can I enjoy? Especially during Gemini, that shift in perspective to one of wonder and excitement rather than what if. Know that the 7 of Cups is a 7. 7s are lucky numbers. With work, it's going to work out. You're going to learn. You're going to experience. You're going to be faced with patterns that you needed to break anyway. So it's, what pattern are you going to learn about? What are you going to experience in whatever cup you choose? Sure, some of them may be easier to see and embrace. Well, those ones is depending on your vibration, can either be the screaming problem, that glaring problem we've been missing and avoiding, or if you're high vibrational, it's going to be that easier kind of, this is what you need to nurture and learn in a more positive, rainbow-tastic way. Again, neither are wrong. The more you break those patterns, the more you learn, the more you challenge you, the more those rainbows come together. The more the universe goes, oh, they're getting it. Gold star for you. I'm going to give you more support. That's why the 7 of Cups can be really challenging. Sure, there's a lot of illusion and uncertainty there. That illusion and uncertainty is because we're questioning us. Not that there's like some sort of big hoax coming against us. No, we signed up to do and learn certain things. That's what that's holding for us. So Castor's being pretty clear. We need to start to follow those silver linings, embrace those rainbows, and challenge us. That's why we have the page here. Children don't have the same restraint. They ask those hard questions. And Gemini's encouraging you to ask those hard questions. I love the fact that he kind of has that Poseidon feel to him. We have the King of Cups. I wish he had in the background like a tidal wave or something coming up here, because the King of Cups talks about that emotional control. And that can be something that is so challenging to do, especially for Mercury retrograde, because we're challenged by the communication. So is everyone around us. So that emotion, that gut response. Yay for Gemini. Yes, Shauna, yay for Gemini. And the reason why I'm doing, I've got another 2 decks to go. This is Castor's point of view. We're going to pull it up and do the yin yang with Pollux in the second here. So yeah, Gemini's really going to give you a lot of insight here, a lot of aha. So the King talks about that emotional control, and he has the control no matter what's happening, what's going on around him. In the Rider-Waite deck, the sea is kind of doing this weird topsy-turvy thing. Well, we're in Mercury retrograde. Other people are impacted just like we are. And depending on who they are, they may be even more reactive and volatile. So that control of self, control of emotion and breath is going to keep you up in this frontal cortex where you're able to think. You're able to use your skills, your tools, your abilities to overcome that problem, to stay in that silver lining. We can't do anything about Mercury retrograde. It just happens. It occurs every so often. And this year, yay for us, we kind of entered on a Mercury retrograde, and we're kind of exiting on a Mercury retrograde. So it's hard because we have 4 of them, but know that it's a natural progression in the world. So people are going to be very reactive, especially as there's still a lot of uncertainty. Whether they caused it, whether Mercury retrograde caused it, they're going to be reactive. For us, that stability, that groundedness is going to keep us in control of us. And sometimes the only thing that we feel like we can control is our breath. And that in itself will keep us kind of one step ahead of the game. The 8 of Wands. Like I said, we stay up here, we stay ahead of the game. The 8 of Wands, of course, talks about that aha that we get from the universe. This is about creation. Wands are about that passion, that creation. The 8 of Wands is usually the 8 kind of sticks falling from the top corner to the bottom. That talks about the ahas, the universal energy coming from the heavens down. It's up to us to be able to embrace it. Like I said earlier, if we're not grounded and stable, we're too, zinging and zanging to embrace it. When we are calm, when we are stable, we're able to create things. We're like, oh, I've got this. It's when we get the crazy of life coming into it that we're not able to go, okay, it was there, but now what? So that stability will help with that creation, help with that understanding. Because there's a lot of movement coming forward. It's just, we need to be present for it. Because it's easy to miss. Aha, the Lovers. The 6th card in the Major Arcana. Would I like to say that it's about that relationship with an external person? Yes and no. It's more about that relationship and understanding of self. During Gemini, we're going to get some major ahas. We're nurturing ourselves. We're starting to explore and understand us on a deeper level. That helps to balance things out. That helps to balance us out. No matter what gender we identify with, we have masculine and feminine within us. It's important that they are in that balanced state. It's important that we are understanding not only our strengths, but some of the areas that we need to work on so that they become strengths. It goes back to that star. The more balanced we are, the more we're able to use our creativity, our skills, our talents, and really make something beneficial for that long-term haul. And that relationship, we need to start with us. The better relationship we have with us, the better our relationship with others, because we know what our triggers are. And we can start to use our words and find out more about that partner, more about their challenges, and how you can support them, because you can be pretty clear on what support you need. The 9 of Wands. So this card usually has the fellow that's like leaning on the wand, like, oh my God, did this just happen? And he has 8 wands behind him. He's not backing down. It doesn't matter what challenge or uncertainty he's dealt with, what tidal wave he's had to overcome, what he's missed, and what's continuing to go on. He's taking that deep breath and he's standing his ground. And we too need to kind of stand our ground. No, we don't want to get aggressive with people as much as we would just like to shake them and say, just listen to me. We can't do that, because what are they going to do? They're going to shut down even more. We need to use those strengths within and those external strengths. Those people, those beings that are there for us, no matter what. Asking for the help that we need when we need it. Goes back to the Lovers. I said we'll know more about what we need. That's part of what Gemini is going to bring us. That aha, that relationship with us, that understanding of that balance. Yes, we need to have compassion and nurture for us. We also need that play. We need that exploration. We need that fun. And many of us are missing that aspect, actually both aspects, because we're so focused on the expectations and the demands and the needs of others. So Gemini is going to help us with that balance, and Castor's being really, really honest. It's about that balance. It's about really looking at what's happening for you in the here and now, what opportunities you have, and how they can start to support you in that forward progression. Because movement is needed. Why? Because stagnation is in the tower, and nobody likes to see the tower come in. All right, let's move on to Pollux. What does Pollux wish to share with my friends? So I like Gemini. I like all the Zodiac, but Gemini is interesting because it does have that duality to it. And anybody who does have Gemini in their astral birth chart will have that duality. I've got a lot of Geminis in my family unit, and yeah, sometimes they're a challenge to be with. I like it. We have the Lovers times 2. This is exactly why I needed the 2 decks. Pollux is singing the same song his brother is, really reinforcing that need for balance, that need for love. He adds in that, yes, that self-love, that nurturing, that balance within is important, but so is the balance of loving others and sharing that love in return. So Gemini will have that loving aspect for you. Enjoy it. So my friends who are in a relationship, take extra time. Know that your partner is struggling in Mercury retrograde, and we still have about a week and a half left. Take time during Mercury retrograde to check in with them. Take time to enjoy and nurture each other after Mercury retrograde, which is coming up on June 2nd. For my friends who are not in a relationship, this is a good time to put ourselves out there. And you don't have to do anything different. But instead of declining and trying to hermit ourselves because it's Mercury retrograde, maybe go out with your friends. We know that our support team is going to be needed. We know that balance is going to be needed. The fun thing about working on self, we start to radiate a glow and we attract like individuals. So you will start to energetically attract those that you need to have in your life. So don't be afraid to go out and have a little bit of fun and play. Of course, you want to be safe and make sure you're still loving you, but you can go out and enjoy yourself. Go play with your friends, basically, is what Pollux is saying. The 5 of Wands. I love all the foxes. It's just like sometimes that's exactly what's going on in your head. You have so many thoughts, so much is rushing through. You're like, oh my God, what's going on? And some of it may be supportive, while other stuff is just causing chaos and, well, hurt because it's that negativity. It's that challenge. That's why stability is going to be so important. Our mind is going to be like ADHD on steroids. Here, 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 here. Pollux reminds us that 7 of Cups is in play. So that uncertainty brings in even more foxes to run around your head. That fear brings in even more. And then it also likes to bring in darkness, because in darkness, everything's scary. So taking that deep breath and making sure we have that stability. Like I said at the beginning of the reading, the more stable we are, the more these light, that silver lining is bright. So take time for you. At the beginning of the day, I would encourage you to stabilize you. I've got lots of meditations that will help you with that. All my meditations either are about grounding or have a grounding element to them. You could easily as well, on top of that, add in something like this. This is Tiger Iron, helps with grounding and stability. Mine's a polished one because I do a lot of work with people, and next to your skin, the polish doesn't hurt. The rough crystals, the raw crystals, well, they have a tendency to be, well, pokey, and it's not so nice on your skin. Any red or black crystal will help with that stability. So Tuesday, you guys will also get that quick and easy 10-minute meditation for stability that can help lure the foxes to another area so that the brain isn't so busy. Do be mindful that some of this and a lot of it will get pretty negative on you pretty darn fast because it's based in that 7 of Cups of uncertainty and fear. So we need to be really honest, balancing that out, checking into it. It's part of what we were talking about here, where we're working on knowing and understanding self better. Those triggers, like I said, we need to know them. Love this version. I love this deck. It's just hard to pick up on camera. So this is the Emperor, the 4th card in the Major Arcana. Mr. Stability and Sensibility himself. In the past, I don't know how many readings, I talk about scheduling in stuff, giving yourself time, planning it forward. Because let's be honest, we know how busy life can get. It literally feels like a herd of horses and you are snowballed down one way. Plan it in. Mr. Schedule and Routine is on play and on deck. Pollux is being clear. Taking time for us to not only minimize some of the crazy, but to start to prioritize things. Schedule it in. We have a routine that we need to keep, but adding in things rather than just giving yourself time to have blank space and binge Netflix for hours on end. Sure, that downtime is needed. However, that time for creativity, for passion, for others. Yes, guys, schedule in those romantic date nights. It makes a lot of difference because it's not so much, sure, not spur of the moment, but you know you're not going to forget. Or get to a point where you're like, do I have to? You're more like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy myself. So scheduling things in, it sounds kind of old school and blah, but it will help you get more stuff done that you want done. Love it. The Hanged Man talks about letting go. Talks about allowing that universal energy. I said up here in the Seven of Cups, when we start to work on stuff, the universe gives us gold stars. Well, the only way that that will happen is if we get the heck out of our way. How do we do that? Well, we start to embrace that light, embrace that fun and play. Have you ever noticed when you're doing something that has nothing to do with the world? And this happens a lot in, say, like when you're showering, you're like, oh, I'm just washing my hair. And then you're like, oh, Eureka! That's the solution. That's what I need to do. Or you're folding laundry going, towel goes in laundry here. And then you're like, oh, yeah, that's what I need to remember. When we get out of our head, the universe and the high vibrational beings are like, and here you go. In your face, this is what you need to know. So taking more time and having more opportunities where you're not trying to take a false sense of control. Like I said, sometimes the only thing that you can control is your breath. There's a lot in play that we can't control. We have to be okay with it. We may not like it, but being okay with it supports us in letting go of some of those expectations, those demands of self, so that we're able and open for those eurekas, those ahas that are going to support us in a very high vibrational way, which means people, events, those rainbows that we were talking about come into play. That's when you start to manifest what it is you want. That's when things start to go right. You're not working as hard. So letting go a little bit, taking the reins and setting them aside a bit and enjoying that playtime, that fun time, really does support you in moving forward in a positive way. I know it sounds a little bit sketchy and a little bit hard to do. Take it one step at a time. And if all else fails, revert back to your creativity. What things will express you in a meaningful way that gets your mind off the problems and helps you to have fun and enjoy right now? Creativity does not always mean arts and crafts. It can, depending on who you are, but it can be things like welding. I've got computer programmers for clients, and that's what they love to do. And they start programming stuff, and stuff starts to flow. However it works for you, embrace it. Schedule in the time. So it's not like, oh, well, I don't think I have the time for it. Look at your time. Look at your week. Look at what you want to accomplish in the next couple of months or the next couple of weeks throughout Gemini. Because that planning is going to go a long way in supporting you in moving forward. All right. Let's end off on any further supports and blessings that Gemini has to share with my friends. Oh, yeah. Faith. Now, this does not mean about church. This talks about faith in you, the high vibrational beings. So, of course, this is a depiction of Gaia. This is, I think, a saint. And then, of course, we have an angel. There's so many more high vibrational beings, but it talks about having that faith. More importantly, also in you. Trusting in you, trusting in your abilities. Gemini only wants you to understand you better so that you can start to work with your world in a more positive way. Work with others in your world in a more positive way. But having that faith in you having that faith in the high vibrational beings, the universe. Like I said in the Seven of Cups, it's not like there's some sort of plan to try and manipulate you. No, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is having that faith. The universe is going to support you in experiencing and learning what you signed up for. Recover, or recovery. So that understanding. Again, we still have Gaia and the angel here, helping you to take those keys, to open those opportunities, those doors that are going to be presented. And again, we go back to the Seven of Cups. Those opportunities are right there. It's going to be up to us to make some decisions. And those decisions are going to be important. We need to keep in that mind. The Emperor has an everyday persona, which is the King of Swords. And it's in that kind of Vulcan mentality where you're using your head, you're processing, you're thinking, you're exploring, and you're reflecting. All those things that you get taught to do to help you understand, well, we've got the master at it. Those are going to help with those opportunities, help with those possibilities. But if we don't choose to, we will miss them because we do have the right of free will. Gemini can come in and try and give you opportunities. If you don't take them, nothing Gemini can do about it. There's nothing anybody can do about it because you are in control of you. Enlightenment. I've said but a few times here that aha, when we let go, we connect in. And it's not anything extra. It's just starting to take time for you to enjoy what's happening in your here and now. There are a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of abundance if we take the time to connect into it, to enjoy it. Because the more we're doing that, the more we're feeding that light and that love, the less the confusion, the darkness, the uncertainty comes in and shifts us away from it. So take time for you guys, plan it out, and enjoy Gemini. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Now, tomorrow I'm unable to do a live session, but I have a pre-recorded session that I'm going to post for tomorrow. So you do get the weekly reading. It's just not going to be in that live component. Next week, like I did say, you will have that stability meditation coming forward. And I can't even think about what I'm doing next week. For all my friends who are from Canada, I know it's a long weekend and we're starting to gear up for that summer holiday piece. So happy, Victoria Day for Canada, my Canadian friends. I'm not sure about my American friends or my friends across the pond, what's happening this weekend for them. I know that it's going to be a busy, full weekend for me. But I will be, of course, for sure live always on Friday, and Tuesday I try and post stuff for you guys. Next week, I think I'm trying to get in the angel reading, so don't be surprised if you see that. If you have any questions about when I'm live, I usually have it on my Facebook page. And I do usually in the community tab as well the night before. I'll post that when I'm live. So that said, best way to stay connected, of course, is hitting the like button and then the subscribe. That way you are told when I'm live and when I've posted videos. So there's never a question. You don't miss anything. So I hope that you enjoyed Gemini, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Until tomorrow, my friends.